If you've wanted to try meditation but aren't sure how to start, where to start, what types of meditations to do, or maybe you've tried it before and you just didn't feel like you were able to get anywhere with it, I want you to watch this video because I'm going to be talking about the two types of meditation that I do regularly and the types of meditation that have helped me not only to keep up a consistent practice, but have helped me the most valuably, is that the word? Valuably? I don't know. I can't even think. The two types of meditation practice that have helped me with my anxiety, with my panic, and just in like creating a life that I'm happy to be in. Which for someone who spent a lot of years dealing with challenging mental health and a lot of years dealing with like suicidal ideation and that kind of stuff, building a life where I feel okay, building a life where I feel okay and I feel like I'm happy to meet myself and get to know myself, and where I'm becoming more comfortable with like existing and taking up space has been a really great learning from meditation for me. So this is the second video in my series on coming into the new year and maybe building some habits that you want to add in to your daily routine. My name's Lauren. I'm an author, a meditation teacher, and someone who's dealt with a lot of challenging mental health and anxiety and panic and all that sort of stuff. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to tell you about meditation is that you probably know all the main benefits already. Things like, benefits for your general well-being, like helping you to feel more centered and calm, also helping you to deal with life's general day-to-day stresses. But it also can help physically. It can help you, to kind of have a better relationship with yourself. It can help you to have better relationships outside of yourself as well. Most importantly for me, I think the biggest benefits been firstly getting to know myself in a way that I didn't before. I think in this day and age, like when we're doom scrolling so much, we're spending so much time on social media, there's so much content coming at us. There's so much of other people's opinions and likes and dislikes and preferences, and even the people around us in our immediate family and our social circle. There's a lot of like opinions and stuff and things that we kind of take on as our identity that maybe aren't necessarily actually coming from within us. And learning how to have a consistent meditation practice for me has helped me to realize kind of what my preferences are and how I feel about things. It's given me that time to uncover that, and I feel like I maybe otherwise wouldn't have had that time to reflect or wouldn't have come to those realizations about myself necessarily. The other benefit for me is that it's really helped with I guess like having a way to help with my anxiety and panic that isn't strictly related to like working on my anxiety and panic. I don't quite know how to unpack that in a way that makes a lot of sense, but what I mean is that like I don't do specific meditations for anxiety. I don't do specific meditations for panic attacks and things like that. It's something that isn't focused necessarily on my on the challenging parts of my mental health, but it has helped me in the most significant way with that stuff while also making me feel more like myself. Whereas I feel like a lot of the therapies, if you will, for anxiety and panic, especially things like, medication and stuff, there can be a whole lot of side effects that really sort of change how you relate to the world around you. Whereas meditation has helped me to feel more grounded and centered in myself, as well as having that knock-on effect with my anxiety and panic. So it's been like this great tool to deal with anxiety and panic that hasn't been explicitly focused on that, and has also given me a really great sense of self at the same time. I'm sure you'll have your own benefits. If you're somebody who already meditates consistently, feel free to leave your meditation benefits in the comments. but yeah, for me, those are the things that make me keep coming back. Like it's like when you start a workout routine and you really learn to love like the runner's high that you get, or like the burn that you get. I really love the feeling I get from meditating. I love how connected it makes me feel to myself and to the world around me, and so that's what keeps me doing it, regularly. Whereas I feel like if I wasn't getting those benefits, if it was just like another one of those things that I wanted to check off my list because it's good for my health, I probably wouldn't do it. I might do it like a couple of times a year, but I probably wouldn't do it regularly. So yeah. Some tips I can give you on your meditation journey, or some just general guidance. It's really not important how you meditate so much as the fact that you consistently meditate. I think a lot of us have that visual of like, someone sitting cross-legged like a pretzel, and like having their hands like this and doing like the and meditation can be that, but it also doesn't have to be that at all. Like, it can be you lying in a hammock just with your eyes closed. It can be you sitting with your eyes open on a train and just like counting your breath. Like, it doesn't have to be like this thing that it excludes so many people. It doesn't have to be this fancy thing. Like, I think back in the day with yoga, it was like we all thought that we had to have all the gear and the like be able to get into all the bendy poses, and it didn't feel very inclusive. But these days I think yoga's just come such a long way, in that we feel like it doesn't have to look a certain way. Like, we can make it our own. And it's the same thing with meditation. You don't have to do the pretzel chanting thing. You can, if that's what works for you, but you can also just meet the practice however you feel the need to. But a caveat with that is that there's something to be said for a position that triggers your body into thinking it's time to meditate. Just like picking up the lead for your dog is like, hey, it's time to go for a walk, or putting on your workout gear is like, hey, it's time to work out. Getting in the same sort of position every time is going to sort of trigger your body to go, all right, it's time to go deep, it's time to go within, it's time to just have that time for myself. So for me, I'm generally cross-legged because that's what's comfortable for me. I don't have my feet up on my knees, but I sit cross-legged, and I sit with my back like mostly straight, not rod straight, not like grade 1 at primary school straight, but just like straight and relaxed. And I'll just sit like that. And that, if I get into that position, it's like my body knows, okay, it's time to meditate, and my whole system sort of starts to like get into that zone. So that's my only thing with positioning. Generally, if you can pick the same sort of position each time, it's going to help to be that like cue for your body to go into meditation mode. But you can meditate in your bed, you can meditate on a special chair, you can meditate like anywhere really. It doesn't matter, whatever. You don't always have to be in this ideal location. I don't personally meditate in the mornings. I will fall asleep. It takes me a while to get started in the morning. I'm really sleepy for quite a while. So if I get up and then I go meditate, even if it's not in bed, even if I go meditate somewhere else in the house, if I meditate and it's too early in the morning, I will just fall back asleep, or I'll feel too asleep to continue. You know what I mean? So I don't meditate in the mornings, but if you want to, great. I tend to meditate in the evening before bed, and then I will also keep my journal next to me for any like amazing meditation insights that come up, and I'll write them down. If you want to start doing that, great. You don't have to add on things that make it difficult or complicated, so don't if you don't want to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And like, you don't have to have a candle burning. You don't have to have chanting music playing. Like, you can make it your own. You can have whatever music playing you want. You can have silence if you want to. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel called to do is going to be right for you, and it may change from day to day. The main thing is that you are going to just spend some time with yourself. You're going to just spend some time being with yourself is the goal. So however you go about that is up to you. Now, the two types of meditation that I love the most and that I come back to again and again, the first one is an awareness meditation, or I guess you could call it like a curiosity meditation. And the second one is called a mental rehearsal, which sounds complicated, but it's not. So the first one, the curiosity meditation or the awareness meditation, the basic gist of that is that you just sit and you notice what arises. Now, for someone who hasn't had a regular meditation practice before, this can feel really overwhelming because we like instruction. We like to know how to do something, especially if it's something that we've never really done before. We don't want to just be thrown into the deep end. Like, we want guidance. We want to know exactly how to do it. And so starting a meditation practice where the point is to just sit and be with what comes up can be like too much at once. So I totally get if you don't want to start with that. But if you feel called to, you just get into your regular meditation position. You take a couple of breaths to begin with. Again, however you want to, you can count the breaths if that feels helpful for you, or you can just take some like deep landing breaths, like those breaths where you just like, okay, let go of the day and just be here. And then you just sit with what comes up. And for me, I come to this meditation practice when I'm feeling busy, when there's a lot going on in my life and I just actually want some time to just like be with what's there. I find that's when it's most helpful for me. I've had experiences with this type of meditation where thoughts have come up that I didn't realize were there, or I've sensed something like someone holding my hands, or like being supported physically, or like I've just understood something that maybe I was holding emotionally, but I wasn't physically ready to feel, if that makes sense. So that's why I love this particular meditation. Now, the idea is not to stop your thoughts. The idea is not to stop thinking. It's not to control your thoughts. It's not to clear your mind. The idea is to just be with what's there. The magic of it is that practice of bringing your thoughts back again and again. You're kind of like the shepherd of your thoughts. Like, you don't have to control them. Like, those sheep are going to be jumping all over each other and doing crazy things. Like, it's very much to like letting kids run crazy in a lolly shop. Like, they're just gonna go. They're just gonna go wild. You can't necessarily like control the excitement. And that's like when you give your brain just free rein to just think, it's like, like it all the thoughts come at once. And that's okay. Like, you're not supposed to not have that happen. Similarly, you will be in like a good place with your meditation. Like, you can be like, just going well, like feeling present, feeling grounded. And then suddenly you notice, I'm thinking of what I need to add to the shopping list for dinner tomorrow. Like, and then you're like, like that's an annoying thought. Like, where did that come from? I was doing so well. That's, again, the magic of it. You're not supposed to not have those thoughts. Your brain is designed to think. Your mind is designed to have these random thoughts. Like, it's going to happen, and it's invited to happen. It's welcome to happen. So part of the practice is just bringing those thoughts back, not stopping them from happening, not controlling them, but just bringing them back to the present moment. And what that means is notice that you're having the thought, and then just come back to your breathing. Notice that you're having the thought again, come back to your breathing. Notice that you're having the thought about noticing that you're having the thought. You know what I mean? Like, you just let your brain do its thing, and you just sit with it. You just observe. So bring the thoughts back, bring them back into the present moment, or just observe the thoughts. Just observe where your thoughts go. You don't have to bring them back if that bothers you to do that. You can just notice. And that has been a really helpful tool for me as somebody who panics, to build that ability to observe my thoughts instead of running away with them has been incredible. It means that I can sit through a panic attack and I can kind of take a little internal step back and I can just watch what's happening in my brain, what thoughts I'm having, what catastrophic thoughts I'm having, and I don't need to necessarily follow them down the rabbit hole. I can just observe them and just have that sort of distance. And so that is one of the really, really great things that comes from this type of meditation, is that you learn to not over associate with every thought you have, because you kind of realize as you watch the absurdity of some of the thoughts that you have. And you can kind of be like, okay, like I think some crazy shit sometimes, and it's okay. It doesn't mean anything. Because I think one of the things with panic is like we can be on a bus, right? Or anyway, that was random, but just anywhere, in a car, on a bus, on a train, and we can have this thought of like, you know, something catastrophic, like, oh my God, what if this happens? And then we run away with that, and we think we've had that thought because we're in that situation. We've had that thought because we're on a bus and it was crowded, or we had that thought because we were in a car and we were stuck in traffic. You can have those thoughts while you're just sitting meditating in your room. And that can kind of feel like a scary thing, but it can also be a really relieving thing, because you learn that you have those thoughts regardless. They just come up, and you don't have to do anything with them. You don't have to think that they're related to the situation. You can just let them be random thoughts that come up. So that's basically what you do with that. And I think having your journal nearby is handy when it comes to this particular meditation, because there will be insights that come up that you then want to write down. To give you an example, like a real life example, I have already filmed this video several times today, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like I kept trying to film the video and it just wasn't going the way I wanted it to, and I just felt weird about myself, and like I wasn't feeling it. And then I sat down and I did this meditation, and I just noticed what came up, and I had so many really nice insights about like, go your own way, just be yourself, like just, you know, like I had my own back, and I felt calm, and I wouldn't have had that if I didn't sit down and create that space for myself. I would have probably gone through the rest of the day feeling weird and crappy and like a failure and just not okay within myself. But spending that time just noticing what my body actually wanted to tell me, rather than what my judgments were telling myself, you know, was great, really good. So that's the first type of meditation. The second type of meditation is mental rehearsal. If you've ever read anything by Joe Dispenza, you'll probably know where I'm going with this one. But basically, mental rehearsal is that you practice feeling a particular way. Now, this is something that you already do all the time. We all do it, especially if you're somebody who panics or has anxiety. You are constantly mentally rehearsing the worst case scenario, and then your body is following up with those physical feelings. It's exactly what anticipatory anxiety is. When you are sitting at home, you know, you have to do something tomorrow, and you're thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong with the thing you have to do tomorrow, and then you start feeling that anxiety physically. You're already feeling that worst case scenario before it's actually happened. You're mentally rehearsing all the time without, you know, conscious prompting. You're going to start mentally rehearsing what you actually want to feel. And so what this looks like is that you'll get into your meditation position, you'll take your couple of grounding breaths, and then you'll think about how it is that you want to feel, and you'll start feeling that way. And it can be difficult when you are somebody who doesn't feel that way to kind of not force yourself, but guide yourself into feeling differently. But you can do it, and you can do it with just a word, or you can do it with a feeling or a visual. To give you an example, I'm somebody who deals with IBS. I've spoken about this frequently, but for a lot of my life, my mornings were spent back and forth to the bathroom, having really crippling flare-ups, bouts of diarrhea, cramps, pain, like all that. And it'd be like an hour of me being in and out of the bathroom, just like having to start my day slowly, because that was the start of my day. The start of my day was always like an hour in the bathroom, sort of, trying to settle my tummy. So what I started doing was I started mentally rehearsing what it would feel like to be able to get out of bed and just go out, to be able to just put my shoes on and go out, and not have to do that, toilet dance of like backwards and forwards to the bathroom. And so how I started that, because I'm somebody who I struggle with visuals, what I started doing was I had a feeling word. And so for me, that feeling word was purpose. So instead of being, instead of having my morning dictated by how my bowels were feeling, I would sit and I would settle and I would breathe. And then I would start to feel the word purpose. So waking up with purpose, what that feels like, waking up having like this drive to go and like get out there, and then to get out of the house with purpose. And I just really felt into my body of like what that feels like. To give you another example, when I entered the Hay House publishing competition, I did this mental rehearsal pretty much every day for like 6 months, where I would sit and I would get into my meditation position, I would breathe, and then I would mentally rehearse what it would feel like when I got the phone call saying that I'd won the Hay House competition. And I would imagine, hearing that in the phone, and I would really feel in my body how that would feel once that happened, how I would feel emotionally, how I would feel physically, like what would my skin feel like, what would my hands feel like, how would that feel in my body? And I'd carry that feeling with me for as long as I could into the rest of the day, until something happened and I forgot about it. When I actually did receive the call for real saying you won the Hay House Writers Competition, it felt exactly the same as all those times I'd rehearsed it, but maybe a little bit better. But it was like this familiar feeling, like I'd already rehearsed it so many times that when it happened, it just felt right. It felt like I knew this was coming because I'd practiced it so many times before. You can mentally rehearse what you want, and the beauty of how your body and brain works is that your body doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining and what's actually happening. You can know this for sure when you talk about something like sexual arousal. Like, you can think of someone that you find attractive and your body starts to physiologically respond, as if you're with that person. You don't actually have to be physically with them for your body to start responding with arousal. So it's not like a woo-woo thing, it's a legit thing. Your body believes your thoughts, especially if those thoughts are have a lot of like emotional charge with them. Same as like if I asked you to think about licking a lemon, your salivary glands start to actually produce saliva when you really think about licking a lemon, because that experience, like your body knows what that's like. And so then your body starts to physically respond by imagining that you're licking a lemon, and by actually doing the things that would happen if you were to lick a lemon. I feel like I've said lick a lemon too many times now. Anyway, it's not woo-woo stuff. It's actually what happens in your body when you really mentally rehearse something, when you imagine something. Your body physiologically responds. And when you do this enough, when you practice this enough, it becomes easier to then have it in your real life. And I know this is something that happens because I've come so far with it in my own practice of mental rehearsal meditations. It really has changed my life in so many ways, and I just want you to try it for yourself and see that it does the same for you. And it is one of those things, obviously, that you have to be consistent with. Like, you can't do it once and expect it to change everything, because you don't necessarily believe it yet. You know what I mean? Like, you can sort of mentally rehearse what it's going to feel like to not be panicked when you go out in the car. But you need to practice it again and again and again, and then it gets easier for your body to remember that state. Similar to if someone taught you how to play something on the piano, you wouldn't be able to play it fluently after one session of learning. Like, you wouldn't be able to play it once with someone and then, why can't I gather my thoughts properly today? You'd have to practice over and over and over again in order to be able to play it, you know, fully and play it well. And it's the same with mental rehearsal meditation. You need to practice consistently again and again for your body to be able to remember that state on like a cellular level and remember it as something that is super familiar. The reason I love this particular type of meditation is because it's got a bit more guidance in it than the awareness meditation, but it makes a massive impact. And it's also just really nice to spend some time hanging out in feeling good. Like, it's really nice. When I used to do those Hay House meditations for the writing competition, I loved starting my day that way. Like, I just loved being able to like go into my day feeling like I was already a published author. It felt really nice to practice a good feeling rather than what I was used to doing, which was practicing the worst case scenario for everything, you know? So just give yourself the gift of spending some time thinking positively, thinking optimistically, thinking with hope. You'll benefit from it even if you don't necessarily believe the whole, like, you know, it's going to happen in real life thing. Just spend some time feeling good about things for a change. I hope this video has helped you. I would like to look for some good mental rehearsal meditations. Joe Dispenza is obviously one I very much recommend. You can find him just by searching on YouTube, Joe Dispenza meditations, and they will come up. But there's a lot of, you know, those types of meditations like future you visualizations and those sort of things. I have one on my channel that I've recorded, but there's lots of them on YouTube that are really, really good as well. So take your pick. There's many out there. Let me know what your favorite type of meditation is, and if you are somebody who's wanting to bring meditation into your practice for the new year. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.